Well, thank you. Thank you all for that warm welcome. Kurt, thank you so much for that kind introduction. And as someone whose own father, a lifelong Baptist minister, also spent time as a prison chaplain, thank you for your service on behalf of people whom are often forgotten, but are so much more than the worst thing they have ever done, and are still deserving of faith and grace. So thank you for that. Let me also congratulate my fellow honorees, Sidley and J.P. Morgan Chase, two entities that I know well. I have many friends at both organizations. So proud to share this stage with you and to also underscore your deep commitment to serving all parts of the legal community. So thank you and congratulations as well. I was so glad to see the video about the City Bar Justice Center because honestly, we really are all here only because of the true heroes of the night. The many clients and individuals who have trusted the City Bar Justice Center with their most difficult issues, with their most painful moments, and the faith and the trust that they have reposed in their pro bono counsel, indeed in all of you, has helped them navigate a legal system that often fails to recognize their humanity, let alone their basic legal rights. And frankly, that's the inspiration we all need tonight. That kind of faith in our system, that belief that one case, one person, one lawyer can indeed make a difference. Because it's so many times throughout our history it has, and I believe it can again. Now, this is such a wonderful organization. You know, it's 20 years, which is actually something I remember vividly when this organization was formally founded. But I remember when I was a young lawyer in the 80s, I think it was the Community Outreach Center. And then the spurring of interest after 9/11. And I will tell you that I spent a lot of time at the Bar Association during those months. I remember standing in the lobby with Barbara Opatowski, who's here tonight, watching lawyers stream into this building to get training in trust and estates, in wills, in bankruptcy, in personal injury, so that they could then fan out across this city and help the first responders' families, those survivors, and as well as those families of those who did not survive, navigate the incredibly complex legal landscape that they and we were all thrust into. Those were amazing days. They really were. You saw the best of the bar of this great city, and it has never stopped. And the City Bar Justice Center has been the focus to allow that spirit to flower, and it's so wonderful. So I salute all of you tonight. Thank you for everything that you have done. 20 years. You know, anniversaries are great. You have to commemorate anniversaries, no matter how long it makes you feel like you've been working on something. But they're important milestones. First of all, they let you stop for a minute and reflect on how far we've come from those days of 9/11, from the 80s. They let you see the obstacles that we've overcome. And they let you just stop and take a breath and prepare for the obstacles and challenges that lay ahead. And of course, this reflection and this resolve is especially important now because we have to gird ourselves for fights about not just the actual loss of rights, but the loss of rights to a degree that we have not seen since the rollback of Reconstruction in this country. The loss of rights that we have not seen, the advance of fears that we have not seen ascend since the days of the era between the two world wars and how we treated our citizens from different shores. Now, I'm often asked during this particular time, and at others, frankly, if I think our institutions, if I think the rule of law itself will hold during this time. And look, I think we have to be incredibly realistic about the challenges we are facing. I truly do not know. I know that institutions do come and go. I know that democracy, like peace, is a fragile thing. And the reality is, The rule of law has never been guaranteed equally to everyone in this country. The need for this great organization is proof of that. But as this organization has shown, the rule of law itself, the rule of law in particular, is what we choose to make of it. And the choices are before us now. Now, it's no secret that many of our institutions are struggling to respond to the challenges of today. But that doesn't mean the fight is over. It doesn't mean the commitment to justice has flagged. And most importantly, it doesn't change our own personal commitment to the values that we hold dear, and it does not change our obligations as citizens, as lawyers, as people who love the law, as people who believe in justice toward the work that must be done. Now, as many of you know, for 20 years, my professional home was the Department of Justice. It is the only cabinet agency named for an ideal. In the late 1800s, the Department of Justice protected our most vulnerable citizens, newly freed slaves, by breaking the back of the Ku Klux Klan in the southeastern United States. Now, it is true the department did not always maintain that clarity of purpose over the years, but during the civil rights movement of the 1960s, the department continued the important work of advancing equality for all of the people of this country. And I was, of course, tremendously proud to see the department advance important work in the years involving Indian country, environmental justice, and the department's own access to justice stood up under the administration of former President Obama. And it is true, we now bear witness to the unraveling of so many of those efforts. And I'm often asked, how do I feel about watching my and others' legacy being literally torn asunder? And of course, it's painful. Of course, it is a tremendously difficult thing to see. But I will share with you tonight that one thing that I have learned over the years is a legacy. A legacy is more than the cases that are brought, the regulations that are passed, or the laws that are written. What I've come to see is that a true legacy actually lives in the people who were uplifted, in the lives that were changed, in the hope that was given. And what I've learned is that does not go away. Because once people feel that, once they become a true citizen in every sense of the word, once they know that justice is theirs, they never forget it. Yes, these are difficult days. And the fact is, so many of our problems are coming from the highest levels of government. Now, it's true, the tone is set at the top, but it is also true, it need not be echoed down below. That is our choice. Now, I have to tell you, it was indeed the privilege of my life to serve as the Attorney General of this already great country. I was able to work on issues of tremendous importance: national security, human trafficking, police, and community relations. It was a privilege to travel the world and represent my country among my counterparts. But the best part, the absolute best part, was traveling this country and meeting with people, working on all those issues and more every day. Every day. People in community groups, professional organizations, block associations, and bar associations, working every day to make this country stronger and more inclusive. People like all of you who have devoted your lives and your professional efforts to so many people who all too often feel the burden of our laws, but rarely feel the benefit of our laws. All of those people, all of you, have not gone away. What you created has not gone away. I was so proud to partner with you then, and I'm inspired to see your work continue now. And even as the din of self-interest and hypocrisy continues to emanate from Washington, it is the voices of all of those people, all of you, that are overriding that sound and fury that signifies nothing and replacing it with calls for change, replacing it with calls for action, replacing it with faith in the fundamental ideals of this country. Those ideals that are the birthright of every individual within our borders, every single one. Now, of course, there's no doubt, it's a great thing to have a friend in the White House, someone who agrees with those positions on the importance of democracy and the rule of law, or in the chair of the Attorney General of the United States. But the reality is, we have not always had that. We have not. Well, but what we have always had is our belief in the law as a tool for justice. We've always had our determination to make that belief a manifest reality, and we have always had our efforts, day in, day out, case in, case out, client in, client out, our efforts to make that so. You know, President Obama used to always say, "We are the change that we seek." Yes, it is important who's in the White House. But my friends, when it comes to the country, this is our house. And in our house, we don't need permission to help people as you do every day. We don't need permission to be kind to each other. We don't need permission to believe in justice. We don't need permission to remind each other of our strength and of our power. And we don't need permission to use our voices and our efforts to steer our country back to itself. We just need to hold on to the legacy that you and all of your colleagues have created over the past 20 years and push forward. Lean on that history, lean on those successes, and lean on the faith of all of those individuals across this great city who pick up that phone, often with no feeling or faith that anyone can help them, maybe because people have not been able to do so before, and yet still entrust you with their most difficult problems, because that's how tides are turned. One person, one act, one mustard seed of faith at a time. So I want to thank you, not just for this wonderful award, but thank you for letting me spend a few minutes with you here tonight and say a few things that have been on my mind of late. Thank you also for 20 years of pushing forward with no guarantees of success, just your belief in justice. That will lift us, that will carry us through the next 20 years and beyond. Thank you again so very much.